Hi, how you doing? This is Amber again, and I wanted to talk about my book for a minute. It's called Ramthaandme, One Woman's Journey in a School of Ancient Wisdom. My husband, my children, and my grandchildren and I were in a school of ancient wisdom for 23 years. And in that school, we learned a lot about healing, about consciousness, about sending, receiving, about perceptions, a lot of different things. But this book, when I was asked inside of me, I was told I was to write this book. When I thought about writing it, I felt concerned. What if this wouldn't be good? What if it didn't do anything? What if no one liked it? What if? There's always all these what ifs when you go to do a project for yourself. You can always do a project for someone else. That's always easy. But doing a project for yourself is something a lot different. And I contemplated for a while before I wrote this book about what would success be for me. And what I realized is that if in writing this book, it changed just one person's life, then my book was a success. And that took all of the fire, the concern, the judgment off of writing. And once I wrote it and people read it, I had so many people, in fact, everyone who read it called me and told me or wrote me or emailed and told me how it changed their life. So it's like one of my mentors said, have you ever read something that changed your life? Well, according to everyone who's read my book has changed their life. So if you're interested in a life-changing experience, just write Ramthaandme at Gmail or a Heart Walker. That's HEART Walker at gmail.com. And if you're interested in getting that, then we can arrange to have the book shipped to you. Okay, thank you so much. Now I want to talk about something else. So this week, as I was sitting at my computer, I had this thought that came in because I had some people talk about, Mercury retrograde and all this other stuff. And I never really put much credence in that. But it's been pretty intense the last month. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe there's something to this Mercury thing. But anyway, what happened is that there's a lot of fire going on in everyone's life with relationships. And as I was in the midst of all this and feeling all of the fire from all these people and all the relationships, I heard this inner voice and it said, and I'm going to share these two things with you because I felt they were great wisdoms. One was, don't judge yourself, for everyone else does a better job of it. And I started laughing. It's like, that's so true. You can never make everybody happy, and everyone's going to have some form of judgment about you. So if you just forget about judging yourself and let everyone do their own judging of you and just get on with loving yourself, then you'll be much better off. And so the second phrase after that came after, don't judge yourself, everyone does a better job of it than you. The second thing was, love yourself, no one does it better than you. So I want to pass those two things on because they made a difference in my life this week, and I felt I wanted to share that with you. So to add to that, I want to talk about knowing who you are. There's a lot of things that we come in with in our soul that make up who each of us is. We are all different. None of us have the same soul. None of us have the same issues. None of us have the same things that we're dealing with in this lifetime. And so, to know who you are and what you brought into this life with you and not judge it is, I think, one of the major aspects of living this life in love of yourself. So just to give you an example, when I was 3 years old, I had chickenpox. And I didn't know this about myself. My mother told me. But my mother brought the doctor over. That's when doctors used to come to your house to check you out. And the doctor came to the house, and as he came in, my mother turned the light on. And I said, "Don't turn that light on. I don't want anyone to see me this way." Well, that's what people would call vanity. But it's not something that I tried to do. It's not something that I made up. It was something that was part of the very fabric of my being. And I have learned to love and appreciate that vanity. There's nothing wrong with vanity. As one of my teachers said, flowers are the most vain thing on this earth. So I compare myself to a flower. So why not enjoy who I am? And I say that to each of you. Whatever it is that you came in with, whatever it is that is part of your soul makeup, don't judge it. Just love it. So as I went on through my life, trying to understand who I was, when I was a little girl, my mom would give me a baby doll. It was like, what am I going to do with this? I want a fashion doll. I don't want this baby that I have to change the diaper and do all these things with. I want this beautiful doll with beautiful clothes. And my mother never understood it. I understood it. It was like, that was my dream. I wasn't a typical dream of being a female and holding a baby. That was not a part of my makeup at that moment in time. And I loved who I was. I loved getting dressed. I loved looking beautiful. I loved going places. So that was a part of me. And we're all different. As I grew later into life, and, like, let's say in my 8-year-old until teens, every neighborhood my parents lived in, there were only boys or young men in. There were no girls in my neighborhood. So I wasn't going to stay inside and do nothing. So I went out and I did everything that the guys did. Football, baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever it is they played. Guns, cowboys and Indians, war, hide and seek, whatever it was. I played everything. I did everything. And I loved it. I loved being with the guys because they were amazing. They had such a focus and they had such a way of looking at life. And as a female, because I've been a female in every lifetime, as a female, being in close contact with men and male energy all the time, I learned something profound about the other side, the opposite polarity to myself. And that continued on through my life when I went into engineering school, because I was the only girl in all my classes. And my father told me back when I was very young, and as I grew, he said, "Amy, you can do anything you want to do. You're not limited by what you can do. Whatever a woman or a man can do, it doesn't matter. You can do anything. Don't put any limitations on yourself." So I never did. I went into engineering school and went through 4 years of engineering school, graduated as a chemical engineer. In those 4 years, the men, a lot of them, wouldn't study with me because if they studied with me, I would get A's and they would get the B's. And so I had to work hard to go through engineering school because I did not have the neuronet, the brain and the experience that they had as they grew up with their father working on cars and mechanical things. My information was different from theirs, and so it made it more difficult. However, I made it through engineering school, and in the final month or so of engineering school, I had dealt with for 4 years, if I were powerful, I didn't feel female. But if I were female, I didn't feel powerful. And one night, I'm out at this big party all dressed up and looking beautiful and feminine. And this voice says, "Why can't you be feminine and beautiful?" I thought, wow, what a concept. Female and beautiful and powerful, why not? And so I carried that into my career. I carried that into the pharmaceutical companies that I work for. I work for some of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And I realized that I could be a female and powerful. In one of my positions where I was a supervisor of building services, I had 38 people reporting to me. My manager above me called me into the office and said, "Amber, you're doing a great job. Everyone loves you. You're amazing, the work you do, but you need to be more like a man. I took one look at him and I said, let's get one thing perfectly clear. I am a female. I am a woman. I'm not a man. I will not dress like a man. I will not act like a man. And you'll get different work from me than you get from a man. But you know there's no one who can do this job better than me. So don't tell me to be more like a man. I am a woman and I do a great job of that. He said, okay, Amber, I get it. So I just wanted to share those things with you. I wanted that to come out, because so many times as we're growing up, we don't know who we are. And we don't know what we think. And we don't know what to do, because there's so much data coming into our brain, because our brain is just a receiver of information. And as we receive it, we think it's our thoughts, but they're not. There's a whole net of energy and consciousness on the radio waves and on the signals that come into the brain. And on those waves is information and knowledge. And that information, when it interacts with your brain, gets downloaded as a piece of data that seems real. And you think that wow, I had this wonderful thought. You receive thought. The mind of God is all around us. And the mind of God gives us unlimited thoughts and unlimited ideas. And whatever one that we're able to capture in the net of our brain, because our brain is like a net, like you catch fish, catching thoughts. And so depending on the frequency of your receiver, just like a radio or a TV, you'll receive different things in your brain. And so you have to understand that the things that come into your brain are not your thoughts. They're only perceived and received thoughts that come outside of you, from the mind of God or from mankind putting these waves into the air and you picking them up. And so it becomes more and more difficult to understand who we are as individuals. So I wanted to share that. And when you have a thought that you don't like, remember, it's not your own. And when you have a thought you do like, it's not your own. But when you receive it, you can choose to accept that thought or send it away. So if you don't like the thought, send it away. It's not yours. If you like the thought, incorporate it into your life. Anyway, thank you so much for being with me today. I hope I shared some information that was useful to you. I know it's been useful to me. And have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.